Hi. 1 year ago today, I shared a video about how I believed God was leading me to sell my house and everything I own to do something different. I didn't know what it was. So here it is a year later, and I'd like to give you an update on how things went. First of all, I sold the house. It was awesome. So there was a couple that lived in Champaign. He got a job the husband got the job as the director at the public library in Charleston, and that job has a residency requirement, so he had to move to Charleston. And they were living in an apartment in Champaign, so he was driving past my house every day on his way to and from work, saw the sign in the yard, eventually decided to check out the website that I had listed there, and he liked what he saw, so they scheduled an appointment, and they bought the house. But that's not where God stopped. So not only did they buy the house, they bought like everything in the house. So the piano, all the furniture, the lawnmower, all the stuff for the kitchen. It turns out that the apartment they had in Champaign was completely furnished, so they never had that stuff. So when they bought my house, they bought everything in it. So God basically showed up and said, "Hey, you want to sell your house and everything you own? How about all at one time?" So that was awesome. The few things they didn't buy had some instruments, a drum set they weren't interested in for some reason. Those few things I managed to sell on Craigslist, eBay, Reverb, or Facebook. And the giant lamp that was in the last video that everybody asked about, we auctioned off, sold it for $100, and donated the proceeds to Standing Stone Community Center there in Charleston. So what I have left fits in my car, except for the car itself. So that's not much compared to a 5-bedroom house fully furnished down to what I can fit in one car. So that's the first part, house sold. So what's the next adventure that he's led me on? Well, so rather than living out of my car, I'm actually living out of a backpack right now. I'm in Nepal, in Asia, for 2 months. So I'm in the Himalayas, in a city called Pokhara. So how did I end up here? This didn't sound like where God was leading me originally. Well, let me tell you that story. So I came to Kathmandu, Nepal last March, so 2016, to help a friend move home that had been serving here for 2 years. And while I was here, I noticed, oh yeah, this is a tech hub of the world. There's a lot of people working in websites and call centers and doing a lot of tech services, even for America, here in Nepal. And so I got to thinking, I could probably hire a web team in Nepal to work for my software company, my website making company. And so that was a thought I had while I was here, a year and a half ago. So fast forward about a year, before I sold my house, I had lunch with a pastor friend in Charleston and mentioned that I have a website software company. He said, "Oh, well, my daughter-in-law's brother does websites in Nepal." I thought, what? That's exactly where I was thinking about. Like, did you know that? And he had no idea. Of course, I had any connection to Nepal. He didn't even know I'd gone. So I looked up his daughter-in-law's brother. His name's Peter, and he's here in Pokhara in Nepal. And incidentally, I had a guy live in my house for a residency program from Pokhara, Nepal, before I sold it. So I think God was putting this stuff together for me. So I made connections with this Peter guy on Facebook and asked if his web team would be available for hire or if they knew of anybody in the area that would be. And he said that they weren't yet available for hire, but it is something they'd considered doing once they finished with their mobile website launch for their own product that they were working on. And they hadn't done any contract work yet, but they were considering it. I said, well, I got to sell my house first anyway. So after I sold my house, I got a hold of Peter again, checked in with him and said, hey, where are you at on things? Can I hire you? And they said, yeah, actually, we just finished our mobile launch, so we were just wondering what was going to be next for us. I said, well, great. How about I come to Nepal? So here I am in Pokhara, Nepal. It's beautiful. Right now it's monsoon season, so I can't really see much, or I'd show you the Himalayas, but all you can see right now is just gray clouds. So I'm here for 2 months working with this local web team to work on my website software. So my plan is still, if the Lord is leading me to continue to serve maybe in Africa or somewhere else working with the church leadership. That's really what my heart's desire is to help church leaders use Scripture as their basis for what successful church should look like. Our tendency too often in any culture is to base that off of patterns that other people, when we see another church that we view as successful, we try to pattern ourselves after what they're doing rather than asking what God has asked us specifically to do. And so I'll explain more of that in another video. The point here is God sold my house, sold everything I own, moved me to Nepal, and I think the next thing is he's going to be leading me to do some church leadership training. So there's your 1-year update. It's still an adventure. Hopefully I'll be back in the U.S. to do some advertising for my business. Those of you in Charleston might see a big old ridiculous billboard with my face on it like the insurance guys have to sell some websites. So if you need a website, certainly let me know. Any business that I get is all going towards the goal of being able to do church leadership training, self-supporting through the websites. Something I can do from anywhere in the world, and so far it's been working out pretty well. So there you have it, a 1-year update, what God has done in my life. It's been incredible. I'll keep you posted.